during the broadcast section, please. James.
Hi, Ange. Yesterday we saw the landmark court ruling. The club confirmed they're committed to UEFA competitions. But what did you make of the revamp proposals? Can you see this European Super League ever happening?
Mate, no time to have a look at that, no idea. And, the club sort of put out a statement and we've got to be wary that, I'm not the club spokesman on these matters. And, but fair to say, the club's put out a statement on our position as a football club and, that's where we sit.
From a team news perspective, are you able to welcome back any players tomorrow? Giovanni, Brennan?
Yeah, Gio's back. He's fine. From last week, there's no one apart from the suspended boys who obviously miss out tomorrow. Everyone else is okay, and Gio, he trained the last couple of days, so he's available, and that's kind of the only sort of change. Ashley Phillips is also available.
And you're without Udogie and Basuma due to suspension. Have you felt the need to address discipline with the squad with the number of yellow and red cards you picked up this season?
No, not really. I mean, it's obviously something that's not great for us because it's costing us during games, it's costing us post games. But the players are well aware of kind of the impact that those kind of things have, and I'm sure they'll learn from those experiences. I think my experience in football is that the best remedy for that kind of those kind of things is, players missing out. If they feel like they're missing out on something, I think it brings them back into line pretty quickly. So, hopefully we keep winning and the guys who miss out, learn their lesson that way.
Hi, Ange. Just going back to team news, you mentioned a couple of months ago, of course, that Mickey and James are set to be back in January. Do you think it could be the early part of January that we could see them back in training, or do you feel it might be later on in the month?
Hard to say. I mean, they're both in rehab. Neither of them are anywhere near sort of training with the first team at the moment. So, if you look at timelines, Mickey and Matters did it pretty much in the same game. Mickey might be just ahead of schedule in terms of with Matters, but both kind of January. Benson Core fairly similar. So you don't like. It's not about sort of trying to not give out information. It's just that these things kind of either accelerate or get delayed when you get into that final phase. And until I see them out with us, then it's hard for me to say.
And in terms of your opponents tomorrow at Everton, since having that 10 points deduction, they've lost once and they've won the last 4, haven't conceded a goal in those 4 matches as well. How impressed have you been with the way that Sean Dyche has seemingly galvanised that side?
Yeah, no, and I think even before that, they were, like I said, if you take away that 10-point deduction, they'd be in a fairly good position in the Premier League. So they've been one of the more consistent sides all year. I think Sean's done an outstanding job. But when you do get hit with something like that, it's often the measure of the playing group and the manager, how they respond to adversity. And you've got to say their response has been first class. Obviously, the club and the fans were disappointed with the outcome, but he hasn't, and the players certainly haven't used it as an excuse for anything. And look, they're a good side. They're a really hard-working team. You've got to compete against them, and we're expecting a tough game tomorrow.
Thanks, Ange.
Ian, please.
Hi, Ange. Merry Christmas. Super League, I know you've just spoken about it, but can I just ask you whether you think from your experiences managing around the world and now managing in the Premier League, whether anything like a European Super League can get off the ground, and if Premier League clubs are not signed up to it, and kind of off the back of that, really, do you think the Premier League clubs would ever be interested in signing up to that?
Well, I haven't given it that much thought. I think the response that it got the first time round is a pretty good indicator of where it sits within the football fraternity in general. That's always a pretty decent barometer. I always think that with these decisions or with these concepts, they're usually done in a room with people who sometimes are detached from what this game's all about. It won't surprise anyone that I'm fairly conservative with these things. I'm a traditionalist. I don't like the game changing too much. I don't like rules changing too much, but I guarantee you I won't be in that room when those kind of concepts are put together. So, but like I said, I think you've got a fairly good barometer of what the most important people, the fans, felt about it, and football people in general. So we'll see what the outcome is.
You've had your blip, or seemingly had your blip, and you're still very much in there pitching. How pleased are you that you came through that sticky spell, and yet you're still very much in the conversation for top 4 or even better?
Yeah, no, look, we've had to deal with our own adversity, and we're still dealing with it. Fair to say, we're still nowhere near as sort of optimum levels in terms of squad and our sort of team and where we want to be. But I think, obviously we had some results that weren't great, and it wasn't a great run. But even through that, for the most part, our performances were still strong, and the attitude of the players was still, really determined to not let this derail our season. And like you said, we're still in a decent position in the league, and but we're still going through some tough times, and we will. It's well documented. We'll lose some more players in January. Pretty much right from the start. So, but through this time, as I said before about Everton, it's how you deal with these things, and we're just going to keep on doing what we've been doing, and keep on producing performances that get us results.
Finally, with the caveat that no manager likes to talk about players who are in other teams. Spurs linked with Conor Gallagher this week, linked with a lot of players. Just in general, January transfer window is just around the corner now. How busy a month do you expect it to be for yourself and for the club?
Yeah, don't really know. I mean, it's one of those things. Like I said, January is a fairly tricky month in terms of clubs doing business. But we're doing sort of our background work now, and once the window opens, we'll see whether we can make an impact in it or not.
Hi, Ange. Just in terms of the injured players, Ryan Sessegnon, how far away is he from a return to training?
Yeah, Sess still, probably maybe a couple of weeks, maybe more away. Again, obviously with him, it's a little bit different. We've got to be really careful about when we reintegrate him. But again, he's doing his work. He's out on the grass with the sports science guys, so we'll just wait and see.
Yeah. Dane Kulusevski's been an influential figure in recent weeks. Have Spurs seen the very best of him so far? Just how good can he become?
Yeah, I hope not. No, I think there's more to come with Decky. He's still fairly young, age-wise as well. But I've been really pleased with him because he's played a number of positions for us, and he's had to. And one of the reasons we're kind of getting through this period is guys have been willing to sort of take on different roles, whether it's him or Ben Davis or Emerson Royale or guys who have had to play different positions for us at different times. And but I think, irrespective of the position, Decky's been a real sort of impact player for us the whole season. Whether that's out wide, really like him playing inside. He gives us another dimension in terms of our attacking threats, and he's such a hard worker that wherever you put him, you're going to get some output. Irrespective of the position. But there's more to come, and he's a willing participant in that. He really works hard at his game. We've asked him to be more of a goal threat this year, and he's definitely doing that. He's getting to those positions more, and that shows me that he still wants to improve, and I'm sure he will.
Okay, thanks, Ange.
Thanks, man.
Back to George to finish this section, please.
Hi, Ange. Just going back to Basuma, it'd be 8 matches he would have missed overall through the suspension. Do you kind of have a fine line between letting him know that that's not good enough, but at the same time not sort of stifling that kind of freedom that I guess he needs to play with?
Look, as I said before, I think, you look at Biss. The first one was just, the first red card was just a silly one, where he's, got a second yellow card for something silly. And last week, people can say what they want. He's just missed time to tackle. It's not like he's gone in to hurt anyone. And, these things will happen. And in today's game, you're not going to get away with it, even if the referee doesn't see it. VAR will pick it up, and he's paid the price for it. And as I said before, it's for me, these things, you can talk to players. Players are well aware that, when they get red cards, that the team suffers without them, whether that's in game or games subsequent. But like I said, I've always felt the best remedy is, if the guys feel they're missing out, then that kind of helps them in that process of sort of not letting it affect their game, but also understanding the impact that it can have. And look, at the moment, we're not in that place because guys who are missing out are coming straight back in because we just don't have the squad. But we get a strong enough squad and, guys miss out and the team keeps winning, and if they miss big games, all those kind of things are the best remedy. But I always kind of understand that, they're all human beings and they're going to make mistakes, and like all of us, we give them the opportunity to learn from those mistakes.
In terms of replacing Basuma, you've used Pierre at the sort of as a number 6 a few times this season. Oliver Skipp, do you view him as someone that can play as a 6, or in your mind is he more someone that's got the sort of attributes to be an 8?
No, I think Skippy can play at 6 for sure. I think obviously we've had Pierre there and Biss and even Bentancur when it comes back. So there's a fair bit of sort of flexibility in who we use there. And Skippy's had an important role for us. So most of the time he's been coming on in games where we really need some needed some energy further up the park, and that's what the role he's fulfilled. But no, he can play at 6, and he probably will play there. We've got 3 games this week, so probably will get an opportunity at some point in that position. And with Biss being away, pretty much till the end of January, I'm sure we'll use him in that space.
And just finally, you've said before about how it's important that regardless of the highs or lows that you keep sort of level. How hard has it been to kind of keep level when it feels like every week there's another kind of problem, I guess, to deal with?
Yeah, look, I think it's important, like I said, that from my perspective, you don't sort of deal in the extremes, because it is an emotional game, and there's enough people who get emotional about these things that it doesn't need me to add to that. And my job in that whole thing is to find solutions rather than sort of focus too much on the fallout from any issues we may have, because I guarantee you that once we get all the players back, there'll be something else that'll be an issue, and you just got to, like I said, it's important for the players and the staff that they know that through that process, my role is to try and sort of charter a way forward rather than sort of focus on, like I said, the fallout from any challenges we may have.